everybody, welcome back to the Engine House. I am your host, Yandy Dancer, and well, I'm making some changes to my video here. One of them is, of course, I'm in front of the camera, something you do not see very often. I do not like to be in front of the camera, but I decided to change it up. The other thing you will see is I am not exactly in the engine house. It's down here, hence the sign on the door, the engine house. It's down there in the basement. This is better lit, and for the purposes of some of these videos, I'm going to be shooting them up here. This is our dining room. So, let's get started here. We're going to discuss a few things. Okay. The first is, in one of my last videos, I mentioned I was going to have my grandson, and he was here. My son was here, my grandson was here. We shot a video, and about halfway through, the sound went out, and so the video really was on. By the time we caught it, they were on their way home, and it was unsalvageable. So, I gotta wait until probably spring, summer, maybe later on, when school's out, over a vacation, if the weather's not too bad. It is a blustery fall day up here in the Crown of Maine. It is heading into winter, so I don't know for sure when I'm going to get a chance to see him again to shoot another video. The other thing is I had ordered a camera because of that fact. The camera came in a couple of days ago. It was defective, so it got sent back. I'm looking for a better camera, something that possibly is going to work when I get it here. So for now, this may be, I'm going to still continue shooting with my phone for now. I would like to be able to do some other things besides just use my phone, and I'd like a video camera for that. The other thing you'll notice is there's no music. I think I've pretty much run through everything I have for classical music. I got to find some more. So there's not any music playing in the background today. That will probably change as time goes on. You know, I could play some here, but I'm not going to. The other thing is you may see my dogs wander in and out. My St. Bernard, our St. Bernard, is laying there in the living room. The other two are currently ensconced on the couch. That's their comfort zone. They may wander in and out. If somebody shows up, they may start barking. So you may hear that. Anyway, Shop Cat may be here. She's currently asleep in the chair over there on the other side of the dining room table. When I start into this, she may decide to join. She does like to show up and join in when it can. Kitty, kitty, you coming? She's sound asleep. Anyway, one of the things I wanted to discuss, I talk about model railroading on a budget, okay? And so I have decided I was going to scratch build a couple of buildings and put them on the layout. I may continue to scratch build most of my buildings. As some of you know who are in the hobby, it's an expensive hobby. Model buildings in the scale I model in, they're not cheap. The good ones, the wooden ones, those really nice, expensive ones, are way out of my budget for the most part. I've got a couple. I'm going to put them on. I've got a resin kit. I've got some old Lionel stuff from the 70s still. I'm going to put together. I'm going to make it look a little more real. But also in this, I'm going to go ahead and do some scratch building. And it's not that hard. You don't really need a whole lot of skills. You know, you can say, oh my God, I'm not an artist. Well, neither am I. My mother's the artist, but it's not that hard to scratch build stuff. It just really takes your imagination. It takes a few simple tools to do this, and practice. Anything you practice with, you're just going to continue to get better. And the other thing is if it's not perfect, don't try to be perfect for starters, okay? If you look around at buildings around you, a good way to get, some in the right mindset for scratch building is to go around and look at buildings in your area. They're not perfect, okay? Older buildings, like the house we're in, it's 100 years old. It settles here and there. Buildings near an industrial area can be grimy. They can be kind of run down. Nothing's perfect. You don't have to be perfect. The other thing is it's your layout, and as long as you're happy with it, that's all that matters. So, these are really simple to do. I'm going to bring them out here. One I'm currently working on and one I'm going to be working on. And I'll be, over the course of the next few videos, could be a few weeks, could be a few months, you'll be seeing me build these. Now, I could, like some of the other modelers do, shoot it all and cut and combine and put it all down into about a 30-minute, 35-minute video. But for people who are just starting out, sometimes it's better to have somebody go through step by step on some of this and, just see what it's all about. And so I'm going to try to do a video a week on either the build that I'm currently working on or the one I'm going to show you that I will be starting, okay? I'll start with this one first. Here we are. Okay, you can see I've already started. All of this is cardboard. This is a cardboard box. The clapboard siding was a cardboard box. There's balsa wood frames for the windows. You can see over here, I just put the clapboard per se right over the windows, and we'll cut it out later because these side pieces are really tiny and it's kind of hard to get them into place right and do them just right. So I'm, going to cut these out as we go. And then I'll be building these. This down here, as you notice, does not have clapboards. There's a loading dock here. This building will be trackside. So there'll be a dock here, the height of where the box car will be sitting. And there'll be a roof over the top of this dock. And then this other side over here, oh, I forgot these. This is another. This goes on back here. I've got it marked out. And this will be the furnace room. And there's the smokestack. Okay. All of this is cardboard and some balsa wood and a few stone. Okay. You don't need stone. I have a stone foundation. And I'll go into this in a minute why I have a foundation there. All buildings have a foundation, let's put it that way. These in particular need something to cover up the bottom, and we'll get into that on the other one. But this is the track side here, okay? This is, of course, one end. This is going to be outside, this for like trucks to come in. This is the door, the loading dock door, a man door, and some big factory windows here, okay? You can do your windows in cardboard. We're going to be doing some on this one, on the one I'm going to show you. If your doors are not going to be open, you don't need to cut them out. You can just make a door to sit there, out of cardboard. On this one, the doors are going to be open and sliders when I get to that point. So there'll be a piece of foam. This raw edge where you can see the cardboard is going to be hard to see in the video, and since you can't zoom in with that. But you know what cardboard corrugated in the middle looks like. This will be covered up with a thin piece of cardboard to simulate, of course, the dock floor here. And there'll be foam built up in here, the height of the door on the inside, and I will have detailed stuff sitting in there waiting to be going onto a boxcar or coming out of a boxcar going in. I may light this, and then again I may not. If I do decide to light it, I'm going to actually put in a second floor so the lights on the bottom won't bleed through to the lights on the top. And again, if you're not going to have it lit, You don't really need to cut out window openings. It would look better, but you could probably do it without. The doors, definitely, you could just do doors that are closed using cardboard. And we'll get into that on this next one, on the other one. This is one I've started, and there'll be videos where I'm showing you the progress on this as well. So, I said cardboard boxes. Let me get some of this stuff up here. This is what I started with. We'll get into the tools and whatnot here in a minute. I'll put these over here to one side. Okay. This one was a 10-pound box of Milk-Bone dog biscuits, okay? Started life just like this. This is a 7-pound box. It's a little smaller. I cut the flaps off the top because they're not, as you can see, if you put these together, they're not really, these are not squared. These are angled inwards. So you can do something with those if you want to and make this kind of like it can be a roof with a flat roof on there. No harm in that. I intend to cut these off. This will not be a track side with a siding. This will be somewhere else. So I'm probably going to use one of these as the front of the building, and this one will have a flat roof with a higher facade here, and I'll cut these down an inch. Okay, you can do this in any scale. I'm working in O scale, which is 1/48, and for you newbies, say people who don't who are kind of about scale. Scale is the size of your buildings, the size of your rolling stock. It is 1/48 for Lionel. That is 1 inch equals 48 inches or 4 feet. Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you what HO is. I want to say it's 180 something or I don't remember. I don't have my my stuff here in front of me on what the scale is. But whenever you talk, if somebody talks scale, 1/48 or 1 whatever, they're talking about the size of your building. 1 inch equals X amount of inches, and in this case, 48 inches is of course 4 feet. So I'm doing O, but this works just as good in any other scale. You just find smaller boxes to do it in. It's not that hard. You can cut these down. I cut the top, the flaps off of this one and measured and made a peak. It's rough. It doesn't look, but once I get the thing finished, it will look like an actual roof here. The same with the boiler room on the back here. And one of the things, the reason, again, I wanted a foundation was, if you look at the bottom of this is indented here. And so it's not flush with the side. This is. So to cover up these, I wanted to put in, make sure the foundation was seen. So I used, I have this one, small work area here, bigger than the basement though. This one, of course, I have stone. The last owner of this house, before we bought it, had a lot of decorative stone left over for some reason, and I went through and picked out the smaller ones, washed them up, and glued them to here. And I'll be putting mortar joints in to fill in the gaps in some of them when I get to that point. But you can also use strips of cardboard to simulate a cement foundation, and as long as you're covering up, and of course I also have some damage on this box right here in this corner, and they're not exactly square corners, which is why I squared them with these as best I could. So I did this, and it'll come all the way. It won't come on this side. This side, there's going to be a foam loading dock. It'll be out a couple of inches, and it'll be next to a siding, so it'll have, for freight deliveries and whatnot. And I plan on having a roof over here. I should not have put some of this on until I got the piece here for the roof. I thought about it when I was going to sleep the other night, and everything had already dried, so I'm gonna just kind of cover it up and keep going. This side, I'll do something before I get to here, so it'll have a small roof over this section, the man door and the freight door. It'll have a small roof over that to protect the stuff on the dock. Okay, I primed this. I'll be priming this, and then it probably won't show up in the video, but I lined this out. I marked how much I wanted, which is 1/2 inch, which is 2 feet. Okay, if it's 148, 1/2 inch is 2 feet. And I marked that for my foundation. Then I made a mark here for the height of the dock and where I wanted the man door and the door here, the freight door. And then I made a line across here to mark where the second floor started, so I knew where to set the windows, and then a mark here to where the second floor would end, and then it would that way I wouldn't put the windows up too high. So anyways, you can see I am going through this and I'll cut these out, and this will be a trackside building. This is, by the way, this is going to be Hansel and Gretel Confectionaries, a Brothers Grimm Corporation. I am kind of into that. My railroad, of course, is fantasy stuff, so why not, right? This one is going to be a flat roof, as I said. It's going to be Granny and Red's bakery and delivery service. So this one's going to be a bakery. It will probably have a smokestack or at least something on the roof. It won't be something maybe this big, but it will be something coming up for the oven. Whereas this one has an actual furnace room. By the way, these are cardboard tubes for wax paper or parchment paper and tinfoil that when we use up a roll, these are thicker and heavier than your typical paper towel cardboard tubes. So I painted this up, and it'll get a little more paint and be weathered a little bit when I get to that point, and it makes a nice smokestack here, I think. If it's on this side of the building, I think it makes a pretty decent smokestack, right? This is all stuff, this is modeling on a budget, so you use what you have on hand. That's my whole thing here about this. It's one of the reasons I'm changing the channel up a little bit, is so I'm not just down there with a camera over my shoulder. You're going to see me doing a lot of this. I'm going to try to do more of it up here where the light's better, but when I can't for whatever reason, I'll be down in the basement. And it's a little harder to get in front of the camera down there. There's my layout takes up quite a bit of room for those of you who have seen the videos I've done. So there's not a lot of room down there for me to get spread out, and I have a very small work area there. Bigger than when I was still living out west, but still, you know, it's going to be, some of it's going to be done up here. And you will see my dogs wander through. Shop Kitty is currently sound asleep over there in that chair. She was pestering me earlier, but she decided it was time for a nap. Anyway, this is this base. This is where I started. This will get primed. The lines will get set for where things are going to go. I'll decide if I'm going to cut out door openings or leave them and just make them out of cardboard with a frame around them. A door frame, you know, and then windows. And again, if you want it lit inside, you want your buildings to have lights inside, you're going to want to make sure that you put in if you're going to have 2 floors like this other one does, you want to make sure you have a second floor in there to keep light from bleeding all the way up and through, and have lights maybe at the top floor or the bottom floor, or, here and there, different room with maybe no light on in it or something. We'll go into wiring and doing that kind of stuff much later. This is going to take me a few weeks to a few months. And again, I could shoot all the video and then scrunch it down to a 30-minute video and put it on there, but where's the fun in that, right? I'm going to show you how it's done as much as possible. And this one, I'll be doing quite a bit of it in front of the camera. The other one, maybe you'll see the progress as we go along that I've done on that one. So we're going to go through this all together. Now, get this out of the way. This is a Special K bar box, thinner plywood, not thinner plywood, listen to me, thinner cardboard, and it's fantastic for making clapboards. And I hang on one second, I appear to have knocked the balsa wood strip on the floor. Bit of a klutz today. This makes great clapboard siding, as you can see on there. Now, is it perfect? If you were to look closely at some of this, you'll see some of it's crooked. It's, some of it's bowed out a little bit. If any of you have watched Jason Jensen trains, he often will peel some of the smaller ones up to make them look like they're weathered. I mean, they're warping. So again, no building is perfect. Your older buildings, of course, they've been around a while, things settle. Clapboards may have been tacked on, and they were sagging, and they just tacked them in place. Who knows? So you don't have to be perfect here. You just got to be able to give it a shot. You don't need a whole lot of skill. Very, very easy to do. What I do is I cut these using an X-Acto knife and a ruler. These are a couple of the tools you're going to need. Okay, I cut them along here. I cut all this extra flap stuff off. And then I have this centerpiece here, this centerpiece here. And then I use this. This is a paper cutter I picked up at Walmart for about 13 or 14 bucks, I think. It was under 15. It has an extension here. And what you would do is you line this up. It has a flat edge here. You line this up under here to however big you want your clapboards or whatever else you're doing. And I'm just gonna this piece is generally waste for me, so I don't use them. So I'll just run it over, and you've got your clapboard. I generally go with 1/4 inch clapboard strips, and then of course overlap like you would on a normal building. That works great. Again, it was under $15, I believe, so it's not that expensive. You don't need one of these if you've got a good steady hand. A ruler and an X-Acto knife will work just fine. So you can do that as well. And I'm not going to cut on this table, or I'll get yelled at later by the missus. Also, balsa wood. There is no place around here where we're at that has hobby stuff, which is a crying shame. I have to order it online. Or my son brought me up some from Michaels. Michaels has balsa wood strips. They're a little spendy. Some of your other hobby stores will have balsa wood that's a little thinner. I need some wider, thinner pieces. And for some other project I've got in the works, I'm going to have to probably special order it. You can use styrene plastic if you can find that at a hobby store. I've never tried it. Boomer Diorama uses a lot of that styrene plastic for he scratch builds a lot, and that man is an artiste, okay? He is way, way up there when it comes to the modeling and scratch building stuff. I highly recommend his videos. He he's really, really good at what he does. I'm just starting here. Am I an artist? No. Uh, Jason Jensen has a degree in art. Jason Jensen trains. He is an artist. He is very good as well at what he does. He does a lot of HO, and he does scratch builds and stuff occasionally. So, you know, these are other people you can watch to see how they do what they do. I am just trying to do this, show you how to do it on a budget with stuff you may already have on hand. Again, it goes by what you can afford. If you can't afford to buy craft styrene, you know, you don't have access to balsa wood without ordering it online. The hardware store where we used to live, Ace Hardware, depends on where you're at. They used to have balsa wood at the Ace where we used to live. The hardware store here does not. I have to go all the way to Presque Isle, to Lowe's, to find anything even close, and they don't even have balsa wood there. The most they have is 1/4-inch plywood, I think. So I'm gonna have to find, I understand there's a hobby store across the border in Canada, in Edmundston. I am probably gonna have to take a trip over there one of these days and check out what they have and see what they've got for stuff, hobby stuff. Supposedly they do model railroad stuff there. I have everything I need to cross the border. Haven't done it in years, but I look forward to going across and exploring. Anyway, the other thing that's going on is my lovely wife, who is currently in training. She was a bus driver for 16 years. And when we moved here, she was gonna kind of retire, and it's not sitting well with her. So she is currently in training with the school district here to, and it's not really training. She already knows how to drive a bus. She's learning the route, the different routes they have. She's gonna be going back to work. We don't know yet if it's gonna be full-time or part-time. But anyway, in the meantime, in between all of this, she's making me an apron to wear over my clothes because I've gotten paint and other things from modeling and hobby work on my clothes, and I don't care much for that. So she was in the process of making me a nice apron to go. I'll be wearing that hopefully soon. She was doing some cross stitching for the pocket that's going to go up here. I'm going to keep some tools in, and she's almost finished with it. So hopefully the most of it's done. Hopefully she'll get that finished up here and before I shoot the next video, and I'll be wearing that. And hopefully before the snow flies, my grandson will get back here and I'll have a better camera to shoot videos with, and we'll keep going, and you'll see me mostly in front of the camera, trying something new. Like I said, I've got hopefully a better video camera. I'll find one. I thought about, there's a couple of historic railroad stations around. There's a railroad museum a couple hours away from here. I thought I'd go shoot a video there maybe next summer. There's a few other things going on. We have a siding right out here in front of the house that used to be the main line up here for the Bangor and Aroostook rail line, and it ended over here in town, and they took up the tracks and they left a section out here, and right now it's mostly just a siding. When there's a little small rail yard right up the road here just north of us, and when they have extra cars they either need to get out of the way, they'll stick them out here on this siding. And so they'll be out here for a few hours or even a day or two, and then they'll pull them off. That used to be a main line, and I was going to follow some of the Bangor and Aroostook track around where it used to go and where it was, but my understanding, of course, one of the folks here in town told me this used to be a main line and trains would come roaring through here at about 80 miles an hour. And I believe it because on the other side of the border, which we are a stone's throw away from Canada, well, there's a river between us and them, and I don't know if I can throw a stone that far, but there's a rail line over there, and we can hear the train when it's coming, and it is loud when it goes by. It sounds like it's running right through our driveway out here. It is loud. So, they're right over there, and I can imagine what this was like when it was a main line. So, but anyway, there were some other things I wanted to do with a video camera, not my phone. So I'll probably do some more with that later. We'll see what happens. But anyway, I hope this kind of gives you an idea. And again, we will go through a lot of this step by step. I'm going to start by, of course, cutting the flaps off of this and priming it. And it's going to take a couple days for it to dry because of the weather outside. I'll be taking this out into the garage and shooting it with some primer. And always, 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 for those of you who are starting out in this, you're working with spray paint or dust or anything of that nature, do it in a well-ventilated area. Don't spray paint in the house, especially if you're married. Your wife you'll never hear the end of it. Honestly, I spray paint stuff in the garage, and we have a mudroom between us and the garage, and you walk out in the mudroom and you can smell the paint for a couple of days until it dries. So you want to make sure, safety always, spray paint in a well-ventilated area. If you don't have a well-ventilated area, make sure you have a mask on. And if you have like a spray booth that vents somewhere, use that. Take it outside if you have to and spray paint it outside. Even if it's cold, you really don't want to be sucking that stuff into your lungs. It's not good for you. And it'll come back and haunt you later, trust me. So we're going to spray paint this first. I'm going to mark out where the windows and the doors are going to be, how I want it to look, what kind of I'm going to do with it as far as, the general look. And then I'm going to go through it and I'll show you each step of the way, a little bit here, a little bit there as we go. And there's a couple of my dogs back here. Hi, Shakola. This one is Shakola. And the other one coming is Amarok. And then Jade, our St. Bernard. They all decided to come for a look-see. Anyway, again, we'll be going through it a little at a time. I'm going to show you the progress on this other one, and we'll do a little bit on the one I'll be working on, a little bit. I'll try to shoot a video every week, and in between that, I'll do a little more and show you, we're going to go through it kind of each step along the way, and we'll go from there. Okay? So, I hope you enjoyed the video, and you get to see me, my face, not my hands only today, and you'll probably see more of me. I'm going to try to shoot this a little more with me in front of the camera, and I might even manage to get the missus involved in it somehow. She's not a big one for being in front of the camera either, but you never know. So we'll see what happens. And of course, Shop Kitty over there, sound asleep. Okay, normally she'd be right here in my face, but she isn't today. It's nap time. So, if you like it, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll catch you next time, next week sometime. Have a great day, and bye for now.